quick and you may have more questions or ministries. And then we're going to have time in a little while, especially over lunch, to talk about all this. But we want to show you another ministry, and we're going to do so with a video. Has anybody heard of Thistle Farms? This is a ministry in Nashville, back there. Rebecca Stephen,
The first word you said?
Thistle Farms, it's in Nashville. Yeah. And Becca Stevens, who's an Episcopal priest, you'll see her on the video. She'll explain how and why she did this, but we see this as kind of a epitome of a sustainable model. I'm going to put this over the things over here. Right? Okay.
Radius for well over 20 years, and I sold myself as if I was a commodity, and I never dreamed that I would get my life back.
In my household, there was a lot of abuse that led me to using drugs, and then it led me also into the prison system. Being as young as I was, I felt like there was no way out.
My life was so, oh God, it was so much confusion.
Thistle Farm is a justice social enterprise dedicated to helping women who are survivors of trafficking, addiction, and prostitution recover and heal. None of the women that we serve at Thistle Farms ended up on the streets by themselves. It took a whole bunch of broken systems and broken communities that really rolled out a red carpet. That story is born by the women of Thistle Farms who on average are first raped between the ages of 7 and 11 and first hit the streets between 14 and 16 years old.
Women just don't choose to be on the streets or selling themselves. If you go back, you will find some traumatic circumstances that have happened in each woman's life that have made them feel like this is all I have, or this is the only way that I'm going to get someone to love me.
At Thistle Farms, we believe that women deserve a second chance at life. But the amazing thing to me is many of the women we serve, this is their first chance at life. You know, they entered into trafficking at the age of 5 or 6. They never had a fair shake. And this may be the first time the community has invested in them to say, now's your time. We do this by providing housing, good jobs, and a lifelong sisterhood support.
When I came here, my whole world changed. Everything that I needed was provided for me. From mental health meds to the physical help that I needed, dental, vision, free of charge for me.
Nobody cared about my background because I probably wouldn't have a job. You know, it was just a blessing to be able to come somewhere and to get trained.
You see, I struggled so long with knowing if I was loved. That had a lot to do with me being in addiction for so long because I didn't think anybody cared, anybody loved. But every day, the women in this community, they love me.
I've never been welcome and not judged. And in my interview, my boss said, it doesn't matter about your past or what you're in prison for, what you did. None of that matters. Tell me what you do now for your recovery, for yourself, for your sobriety. And that was different. It was something I had never experienced.
People will love you so much that they love you back to life. I truly believe that love does heal. I like the fact that I go to work and I pay the bills, and it's just different. It's just different being here on the other side.
Without Thistle Farms, I don't know exactly where I'd be.
I had always been in a situation where I got to give something to get something, but this was one of those programs that we give and we give and we give, and all we want you to do is learn how to love yourself. And we're gonna keep loving on you until you learn how to, and now I love me to death. I do. I love me to death now. I do.
I wish I had dreamed bigger sooner. I really do. I mean, I think I spent too much time thinking this was really small. And loving people is a really big idea, and it means that we have to be big enough to live into that idea. It's about remembering the amazing things that love has done and believing in the amazing things that are still to come. It reminds us to, stay rooted in that small circle where we believe one candle lit can bring another woman home. But it also means believing that we make a difference in this world and that together we can be a powerful symbol for how love heals. And that's what we're going to do. So we're just hitting our stride. We are the largest social enterprise of its kind in the U.S. But, we're just beginning to light a candle. And we're going to do it because people still love us and hope with us. And we are committed to growing the movement that reminds the whole world that love is the most powerful force for change there is.
All right, I want us to have some table discussion now, so I'm going to give you some questions, and I want you to think back over what you've seen since you got here, all the little bits of ministry and models that we've shown you as you talk. So first, at your tables, I want you to talk about, do you know what healing needs to happen in your community? What healing needs to happen?
No, I didn't mean that. I know you the assumption. That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like, how do we know? Well, I hear you. Yeah. in the survey, which then allows us to have interactions and then visit John and Kathy search urban ministries. Sometimes talk to me as like those are right there.
Okay, we're going to move to the next question and you'll wrap up your conversation. And then sometimes in our communities, it's very easy to see the brokenness and to know that healing is needed, but how do we do that? How do we orient ourselds towards healing? I want you to think now about gifts and the gifts and skills that people have. And either in the ministries that you've seen today, the video about Thistle Farms, or your own ministries, how are people's gifts being utilized and seen and built upon? How are the people's gifts in your community being seen and utilized and built upon? Their gifts and skills and abilities.
Very wide shot. It's
All right, we're gonna move to another question. Okay. Sure. So in the Thistle Farm's video, there were two women who talked about being loved. One said being loved back to life. And then the other woman talked about loving herself, learning to love herself. Somebody invested in her. So in this next question, I want y'all to discuss how can your church, your community, offer this abundant grace where people can begin to love themselves? How can you offer abundant grace, abundant mercy? Some people may say, like, give somebody a break, or trust them with something of value. How can you? about my friend Hattie and how I got to know her. So I'm the pastor at Woodlawn United Methodist Church, which is about 2 miles down First Avenue north from here. And when I got to Woodlawn 10 years ago, we were running a cooperative food pantry with several other churches in the area, meaning that those churches food bank, bag it, and then let people come in and get groceries. You know how the food pantry works. But ours wasn't working really good about yourself. And I would go in and we had a little waiting room, and I would talk charity of low-income food co-ops, what it was called. There was a community church in Atlanta that was doing it, and we had some folks from our church go and see what it was all about, and they brought this model back. We closed our food pantry, and we started this food co-op, which you saw just a little bitty, minuscule bit of. Well, Hattie Jackson is a part of our Tuesday morning food co-op, and I've known her for about 7 years. Our Tuesday morning one is the one that's been going the longest. We started it in September of 2014. And Hattie is a member. She's now the meeting leader, and she is on our board of directors of Woodlawn Community Table, which is our nonprofit that grows all our food co-ops. So she's going to tell you more about that, about herself, and reflector, Hattie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. It's a bittersweet day for me. I lost my brother Monday. But I know he wants me to do this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so here we are. Good morning, my name is Hattie Jackson. I'm a manager of the Tuesday Co-op
What is your name? Emily.
And that means I order the food. And I order it based off the numbers that we do. And so I make sure that everybody, I count it, I do count it and everything before I actually order each cases of vegetables, macaroni. I count it. If we got 25 members, I'm gonna count at least three for this and that. I'm gonna at least bring 7 to 8 cases in of each item to make sure that everybody gets the ample amount. Okay, a co-op is a distributive outlet organized as a cooperative. That is involving mutual assistance of members working toward a common goal, which is that common goal is the distribution of the food to the families. The co-op consists of lower income families to secure or supplement food in addition to their regular food budget. We are one of the first co-ops in Alabama. The Woodlawn Co-op is table to table. It was started by Mason Boyd and Reverend Emily Pitfield. Okay, the co-op has rules and regulations and bylaws that each member abides by. Y'all may say, well, what are those? That may consist of you be here on time, no arguing, no profanity, and things of that nature. Each co-op member has a job to do, which may include packing boxes, unloading trucks, sign in. It may just be making coffee or sacking vegetables, and keeping the building clean. Along the years of the journey of our co-op, we have become like an extended family. Everybody cares about each other in the co-op. We just love each other. We do. We may have a little disagreement, but everybody love each other before they leave. And we hope, and we have lost quite a few members along the way. They got their wings, and everybody got up and we went to their funeral, they homegoing, and assisted in their family, whatever we could do. Okay. We are financially funded by donations, various churches, and for grant writers to buy discounted food. We get our foods from discounted agencies, food banks. Sometimes we get free food from different agencies, and we get food from farmers when they have extra produce, and some of them just want to donate. Just want to donate, and we have the little Jones Valley Farm that they got fresh produce. That's like 2 blocks from us, and they are nice. They just want we look up, we come in there, we got a whole wall of fresh vegetables. Okay, cause our goal is to buy nutritious food such as chicken, brown rice, vegetables in the can. When we can't get vegetables in season, fresh vegetables, we get vegetables in the can. But our goal is to try to be as nutritious as possible because we have a lot of co-op members who have various conditions, and so I look at that when I order. Like I may order a lot of canned goods with no sodium because we have quite a few members who have hypertension and diabetes, and so I look along that line, not just then. I try to order a lot of kid-friendly stuff because we have a co-op that they family have a lot of children in it. So we try to order stuff that the kids would want to eat too, not just one. We try to do it equally so everybody's gonna get something that they like. Okay, our co-op has an average of about 25 members. And Woodlawn United Methodist at this present time, we have 3 at that location. They meet on the first and third Tuesday, which I'm in at 10, and then we have another one that meets also on the first and third Tuesday at 1 o'clock. That's the one that has most of the children in it, so we look out for our kids, we look out for everybody. And then we have one that meets on the 2nd and the 4th Thursday at 10 o'clock. The category of co-op consists of 3 groups in which we distribute. Small family is 1 to 3 that everybody has seen us did. That was 1 to 3. Medium family is 4 to 5. Large family is 6 plus. And the food is distributed based on the categories with the large group. Like I said, large group may get 3, medium may get 2, small may get 1. And we go from that big family packs of meat. We take those to the large families first. The big large packs of meat, you may get big rolls of ground beef, $30. We take those to the large families because that's so they will have that. And that is it. And I thank y'all for letting me talk to you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. We say we are the clues. We are the people who have the resources among you. So we don't have somebody coming out of Washington, D.C. or somewhere. The wisdom is among us. That's why we have people who live among us to share with us this morning. I'm excited to introduce my friend Terry Jenner from Aniston. She is a grandmother of 15. So she got this going. And she also is an amazing woman. I can be here to tell her story the whole day. I'll let her tell her story, what God has done through the ministries that you are doing, through the ministry that God is calling us. We're talking about love heals. Love heals for sure. Love transforms people. So you will hear Terry's story of life transformation and how love has healed her. Terry Jenner.
I got to say 10 minutes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I am Terry Turner. Like Pastor Lee says, I have 15 grandkids. I have 3 great-grandkids. I sympathize with you, Miss Hattie. I also lost my great-grandbaby Monday. So I sympathize with you, but when God has something for you to do, you have to push and keep going. Okay, I'm going to start this off with basically, me and my mom moved to Glen Alley apartments in 1979. Back then, Glen Alley was Glen Alley Baptist Church. It had not yet became a United Methodist Church. Back when I was there in 1979, blacks were not allowed to be there. We got treated really bad and scary. They bring crosses out in front of the fields. Pastor TK and Pastor Lee knows my mom very well. So what I'm getting ready to say would not shock them at all. What they would do when they would burn the crosses, they would knock on the doors of all the blacks. They knocked on the wrong door when they knocked on my mother's door. All I know is I'm hearing gunshots and I'm seeing people run. We've never had a problem since then. Fast forward. Glen Alley becomes Glen Alley United Methodist Church. See, God will fix a neighborhood. It became Glen Alley United Methodist Church. Glen Alley Methodist Church was also a mission church. The feeding program started there way back in 1998. It has been there a very long time before I even came along. But when I got there, it was like in 2000 or in between like that, but my children always went. Mind you now, this ministry has always been there. When Pastor Admino got there, we named it Matthew 25, which is awesome. You are looking at an addict. You are looking at someone who did drugs over 20 years. You are looking at someone who has been clean 8 years. Oh, God. Through that ministry that I was a part of, being in that outreach ministry, helping the people feeding, saved my life. I found my salvation in this ministry. We would feed between the feeding and the grocery distribution over 500, 600, 700 families. It was great. I cooked, I cleaned, I drove the van, I helped with the youth ministry, I did the janitorial work, I don't mind cleaning the bathroom. I worked with the youth, I did it all. Wherever God could use me, baby, I ran to do it. But because this ministry that was at Glen Alley, without it, I would probably be dead. You probably would not be looking at me right now. Through this ministry, I met so many people like myself. And if people like myself will look at me and I hear that story and they see me, and they're like, well, Terry, because they know me. Half of these people have been knowing me all my life. And they knew my addiction. My addiction was bad. Like I was sharing with Miss Shirley, it wasn't cute. It was nothing pretty about it. I was awful. I was awful. I like to make my mother homeless. I was really, nothing mattered to me but that crack. That was it. I was lost. After my daddy passed away in 2008, I definitely went downhill because you were looking at the only child. I had no help with my mom. She was suffering with dementia. It was so crazy on me. And they say, well, just pick me up because I'm going to keep your mind off of it. And that's what I did. But God says, no, I'm going to put you in Glen Alley Church. I'm going to work you till you can't be working anymore. That's what I'm going to do for you. And that is what he did. I done learned how to paint. Past that lead, we done painted. Oh my God, I learned about some good food. But my main thing is this right here. Without that ministry in my life, I don't know where I would be. Without talking to homeless people, drug addicts, I wouldn't even realize how blessed I was because they were so intelligent. Like I was telling them, we are very intelligent people, addicts. We are very intelligent people. And the devil wanted us because he know how great we could be. And that's what he was after, my spirit and my soul, but he couldn't have it. Because of Glen Community Church, Glen United Methodist Church, because of the ministry in this church, that transformed my life. The stories I would hear, some people became homeless strictly because of a job that they had lost. We had a man that came from Africa. He was a teacher, a doctor, and he became homeless. See, this could happen to anyone. This could happen to anybody. Very intelligent man. Got into a situation he couldn't help, became homeless. But by the grace of God, that ministry at Glen United Church, Glen United Methodist Church, was there for him. And God put Pastor TK and Pastor Lena in place at that time to help him. And it couldn't have been nobody but God, because I know I couldn't help him, because I didn't understand nothing he was saying. So without them being there, all I could do was just feed him. You know, I could feed them and give them, but what else could I do? You know, but anyway, I just thank God for transforming my life, feeding the community, counseling the community, loving your community, providing for your community is very important. Not just for the people who are okay. It's more important for the people like me. Myself, us who struggle with addiction, us who struggle with depression, us who struggle with loneliness, because do believe me, loneliness has a lot to do with addiction, because you feel like you are all alone, but God. But God. I give him the honor for where I am. I can't do nothing else. I can share my story with you, and I hope this helps somebody or I help a family member to let them know, don't give up on yourself. Find you a church that is active and is giving out to the community so you can give out, because the gift that God put in me from doing the things that I did in Glen is inside of me now. I don't have to just use it in the church. I can take it with me everywhere I go. See, that's the good thing about the gift. That's the good thing about being recovering from drugs, because he made me realize you are beautiful inside and out. Addicts need honesty. We need honesty. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't sugarcoat it. Do not do that. Don't sugarcoat it. Be honest with us. Be very honest with us. Because like he was telling me one time, I think we was Bible, we was talking, and like he said, you could smell the stink of drugs. I can smell it now because I'm no longer doing it. But I can smell it off of people now. So what I tell them is, find your church. Find your program that keeps you really, really busy. Matthew 25 kept me busy. Matthew 25 gave me my salvation. This is why I am able to stand before you now, even in the midst of what my family is going through. God is still good. It doesn't matter what you're going through. And sometimes people are like, well, why you always just have to talk about the past? No, baby. My past reminds me of where I have been and where I am now. I would never forget my past. I would never forget what God did through me, for being in Matthew 25. Through that ministry at Glen Church. And the thing about it is, I'm not the only one that it helped. It helped a lot of us in that community. It helped a lot of us, you know, and it's missed. And I miss a lot of people, but God knows it's still there, you know, in me, through me. So my thing is this right here. Okay, my 10 minutes. I made it. I'm gonna try to say 10, but I just want to give this to you, and sometimes God gives me things and it comes through a song, and I'm gonna give you this. And this is my song that I use to keep me going. I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy, but I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. That's it.
All right. I'm Adam Burns. I'm pastor of Church of the Reconciler. It's in downtown Birmingham. And I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Joanne Moak. All right. She's always ahead of the curve on things. She is now the Outreach and Communications Director of Community on the Rise, which is a partner nonprofit with our church. And I met Joanne during COVID. I had to stay home. I just had a baby boy. And so I couldn't go to church right then. We were a lot more scared than we are now, you know. And I come back after being gone months, and Joanne is in the nonprofit space, walking around like she runs the place. And so a lot had happened since I had been gone, and Joanne is another wonderful, inspirational, strong leader from the community, and I wanted you to hear her story this morning.
Hi, as Adam said, my name is Joanne, and he asked me to tell my story today, and I was like kind of shocked at first, but because I didn't see it as this inspirational thing like he thought I was. I was raised in a household that was very abusive. If you looked at somebody wrong, you got slapped. You very seldom saw love. As I got older, I got out of it a little bit more, but I ended up in a whole other one that included physical, verbal, and sexual abuse. And when an opportunity arose for me to move out of state, I jumped on it. And I moved from Texas to Alabama, and I had never been in this state before. By myself, I left my family, I left my kids, because they were grown adults by that point. And my youngest child was actually one of my abusers. So when I left everybody. I said I wasn't dealing with it anymore. I came here expecting to move in with a friend that I thought was a friend and his wife. And everybody was okay with it until I actually got here. The day I showed up, his wife basically looked at him and said, "Get her out of my house or I'm going to call the cops." I ended up homeless that day. Most people think of being homeless as a bad thing. I see it as a blessing in disguise for me. Where I came from, like I said, there was no help. There was no way I was getting out of it. It was a small town, everybody knew everybody, and there was nothing that was going to get that fixed. Getting out of it and getting home, becoming homeless, picked me up. It was actually a step up for me. From there, I basically found a place to stay that was a roof over my head at least. Cleaned it up so I'd have a safer place to stay. A friend of mine that I had met here, he became a very good friend, told me that he knew a place that could help me get my ID because I didn't have one. I had my birth certificate, I had my social security card, but my ID had been expired for several years. So he took me to Community on the Rise and introduced me to Avery Rhodes. She helped me get an ID and basically made me feel like I actually belonged here. Like somebody gave a crap and I wasn't just another number on the road. From there, I offered to volunteer for her. And she basically joked around. She says, "Don't say that too loud, I might have taken advantage of it." I knew it was something that I needed to do. It got me out of the place I was staying in. It got me away from all the drugs and everything else that I was living near. And gave me a safer place to blossom, basically. From there, I have been hired on as a member of her program now Started out with 3 of us that were all homeless. They gave us a home, employment, dental, medical, the works. From there, this is my 2nd year now, and now I'm house manager of this house and the outreach coordinator. As well as I took it upon myself to also become a notary because I saw a need in our community for a notary because I know a lot of our community doesn't have $5 to go get a meal, much less $5 to pay a banker or somebody to notarize a piece of paper.
Right.
So I offer my services free of that one. As we need them, I do them. So.
Amen.
But now, like I said, as an outreach coordinator, Adam said I kind of looked like I took over. Well, I kind of did. Avery was a little disorganized when I first met her. She needed some assistance getting things straight so everybody could figure out what we needed to do. So I basically took over with signing people in, making sure the next person in line was the right person in line. If they had an appointment, I made sure they were pulled in first. Organized all of her files so that we could actually find something again, and went from there. So I went from being what personally I thought was worse than a piece of gum on the bottom of somebody's shoes, worse than the dirt you walked on, because I was not wanted, to somebody that shows that people do care.
Yeah.
And I show others that too.
Yeah.
By telling my story, not only I healing, but hopefully helping others.
Amen.
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 Hey, Joanne or Adam, could one of y'all share a little bit about the recycling program and the jewelry and all the products and so forth? Because I think that that's a huge part of Community on the Rise that connects the Thistle Farms.
Sure.
We have a couple minutes.
Okay. As she was saying, part of what our program is recycling number 5 plastics. And a lot of you might know what they are, some of you don't. A lot of those are normal household items you might not realize are number 5s, but if you put them in your normal recycling bin, they get thrown in the trash anyway. They basically just go back to the dumpster. But it's like yogurt cups, sour cream jar containers, a lot of the lids that are on them. And if you look at the little triangle on them, you'll find a little number 5 inside of it. Or if you don't see a number at all, or sometimes you'll see both, there's 2 little P's underneath it, which stands for polypropylene. We take all of that, we clean it, we shred it into small little flakes, and if I didn't know I was going to tell this story, I brought some with me to show. And then we melt it down and make it into new products. We do everything from earrings to necklaces to power pots, which are, most people think of them as flower pots, but they're basically just a little multi-purpose pot, little cup, that you can use pretty much anything you want. The only thing we don't say is drinking out of, and that's because we don't know what the process of what we do does to it. And all of the benefits of the money that we get from selling our products actually goes into our program to help sustain what we're doing with the 3 people that are living in the home, the getting the IDs and the birth certificates, etc., for our community and stuff like that. Does anybody have any questions real quick before we go? Okay. Thank you.
They will give you a tour of their recycling project if you go visit them downtown. I mean, I call first, but it's a really cool thing. We're going to take a break right now and then come back for lunch at 11:15. Lunch is going to be served in the kitchen, so you'll go through the door, go through the line, and then you can come out here, back to your tables. And while you're eating, I want you to talk to your neighbors about what ideas you've had today. What has opened your eyes? What light bulbs have gone off? What are you thinking about for the future of your church or your ministry? Or what questions do you have? Somebody had a really good question about funding in the small groups, and that might be something that you want to talk about. I also want to talk, Emma Palmer, she does have on some of the earrings. And pray over our lunch, and then we'll let you take a break and go through the line.
I just told him 11.
To take a break,
Take
and
a break.
then at 11.
And the farmer's market's still going in. They're in the stores.
Okay, and also, thank you so much, Emily, for leading us in this session. Also, there are note cards on your tables. If you have questions, just write those questions and we can collect those questions. We can answer you today, or we can have the team answer those and email them to you. So if you have questions, those are the note cards on your table. And I should have put my necklace and earrings. I bought some, and I have some stuff from you and your ministry. So thank you. Support that ministry. Let us pray. God, we thank you. We thank you for allowing us this morning to hear stories of love, to share, to see ministries around us. May you continue to remind us to think deeper, to ask for your wisdom as we think about our ministries that we lead. As we take a break, God, help us to re-energize. We thank you for the meal that has been prepared for us. And may you continue to remind those who are preparing the meal as we take a break in this moment. God, we thank you. We give you the glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
We have a thrift store down the hall. If you're interested, right down here, down the hall, straight upstairs. We have a used bookstore and the farmer's market still going on outside while you're roaming about.
Oh, do not do that, I suppose. Okay, now, you don't need anything on the screen during lunch. I can go figure out how to set mine up in there. Okay, no problem. Then lunch,
So we've been
yes, Sally, you can have this.
Thank you.
So we go, I said, I can only wear a softball stand. We go up the island, and the very first time I go up there, I tell them this. He's still playing. I'm not playing for you.
We're about to have
I can remember y'all's names. My parents were best friends. Back in they let names. My father passed away. They let over. No, they had their best friends were named George.
Different Georgia.
Different Georgia Beth.
Yeah, different. Is it? That's what I was just talking to your way, and that's what she said. I said, what's the best way to get to you? She said, just call me. She said, I'm just in the Indiana and it's lost and all the other stuff. I was telling her what we're trying to start, and then she was like, yeah, if you need me, just give me a call. Oh, wow. And I'll be the favorite guy. No, I work in the laboratory. Well, when I'm, so we were talking about it. She tested positive.
Is the breakfast good? Hey, Betsy, you don't have $3.
Well, we've already experienced how my brain works and lack of words,
You work, so right?
kind of, sort of. It gets me there. It gets me there.
home.